Okay, so the next part of Unit 6, we are doing Module 6.4 today. And today we are going to be working on one-step multiplication equations. So if you can see the learning target, I can write and solve multiplication equations for real-world and mathematical problems by using the division property of equality. And the vocabulary, we have inverse operations and we have the division property of equality. All right, so just think back about what we had talked about inverse operations really quick. So this is a recap. Inverse operations undo each other. So the inverse of addition was subtraction, inverse of subtraction was addition. And now since we are doing multiplication, inverse of multiplication is division. And of course, inverse of division would be multiplication. All right. And so once again, inverse operations undo each other. And today we are going to be working on the division property of equality because we are doing one-step multiplication equations. And if you look at this, the division property of equality, if I divide each side of an equation by the same non-zero number, the two sides remain equal. All right, so if I say, let's say I have something like 8 times 4 is equal to 32. Okay, if I have something like that is equal to 32. All right, so if I'm going to do the inverse of multiplication, all right, and I go ahead and do 8 times 4, and inverse of multiplication is division, right, is equal to same thing. Whatever I do on one side of the equation, I'll have to do exactly the same thing on the other side of the equation. All right, and so if I do 8 times 4, I get 32 because of PEMDAS, left to right, when I only have multiplication and division. And so 32 divided by 4, I get 8. And same thing here, 32 divided by 4, I get 8. So as you can see, this has not changed at all. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to take you to my whiteboard again. And let's quickly talk about how to write multiplication equations. All right, and so once again, this is a lot like what we've done in the past. So you can see once again the steps involved. You can write equations to represent real world problems involving multiplication. And the table below over here, this shows the steps for writing an equation to represent a real-world problem. And as you can see the words, we describe the mathematics of the problem, use only the most important words in the problems. This is the same thing which is happening over and over and over again, all right, in every lesson that we are covering. And the variable, we define a variable to represent the unknown quantity. And then equation, we translate the words into an algebraic equation. All right, so let's do an example. And if I have this question given to me, all right, so this is saying Kosumi is saving an equal amount each week for 4 weeks to buy a video game for $55. Write a multiplication equation that can be used to determine the amount she is saving each week. Okay, so if I look at this, right, I'm going to just use this color. All right, so we are going to identify, we are going to describe the math of the problem. And so we can see based on this question, the number of weeks times the amount saved each week equals the total amount saved. We're going to define the variable. Let A represent the amount saved each week. Okay, so let us represent this by A. Okay, that's the variable I am using. And we have to write an equation. So we know that it is for 4 weeks, right? So it's going to be 4A is equal to how much? 55. So 4A is equal to 55 because she's saving the equal amount each week for 4 weeks. This is the amount that she's saving. So 4 times A, which is 4A, is equal to 55. And there is my equation written out. Let's do another example. And let's say I have this given to me. Okay? And it's saying, Vincent and some friends shared the cost of a season ticket package for the local football team. The package cost $745 and each person contributed $186.25. Write a multiplication equation that can be used to find how many friends contributed to the ticket purchase. Okay, so again in words we are going to describe the mathematics of the problem. So the number of friends times the amount each person paid equals the total cost. So let's define the variable, and we are going to say the number of friends is going to be represented by F. Okay, so F is representing the number of friends. Okay, so what are we trying to write an equation of? We're writing an equation. So friends times, friends times, how much is each person paying over here? $186.25, and the total amount is $745. Now, please remember what I did teach you. We are going to always, when we are multiplying, the coefficient comes before the variable. So we are going to write it like this: 186 and 2500 F, because that basically means multiplication, and that's the coefficient. This is the variable, is equal to 745. Okay, so here is my equation written out. All right, now let's do one more. Let's do this one. Okay, so a jewelry store is selling a set of 4 pairs of earrings for $58.85, including tax. Neva and 3 of her friends want to buy the set. So how many, Neva and 3 of her friends, okay? Write a multiplication equation that could be used to find how much each person should pay. So we're going to look at, there are 4 pairs of earrings for $58.85. How much should each person pay? So we can write it in the format. Okay, so we're going to have 4E. Okay, I'm just using E. 4E is equal to, how much was it? This much. Okay, so 58 and 85, $58.85 over here. So we are just looking at 4 friends. How much is each person paying? And that's basically how we write out this equation. Okay, all right. Now we are going to move on, and let's do this one. Okay, or I can just do this on the whiteboard. All right. So one-step multiplication equations. And now we are going to go ahead and solve some problems. All right. So let's look at this. we are going to talk about, we are given a one-step equation like 4x is equal to 12. Okay, if I'm given this. So let me show you based on a model how to do this. To model the equation, we are going to, because we have 4 x's, right? So we are going to place 4 x tiles on the left side, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, and we have 4 of these x's, okay, is equal to, we are going to put 12 1 tiles on the right side of the mat to represent 12, okay? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so I'm just trying to give you a visual model of what I am doing. Okay, and then we are going to arrange the tiles into equal groups on each side of the mat, and this will allow you to group the tiles into 4 equal groups to find the value of x. Okay, so since this is 12, okay, and this was 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay, I'm going to put them in equal groups in each of these, and so we have 12 over here. So if I do, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So look, these are all the ones. Okay, so for each x tile, there are 3 1 tiles. Look, for each x tile, there are 3 1 tiles. So therefore, x is equal to 3. So this is just by showing you a model that what it looks like. And then let me go ahead and you know that to solve a multiplication equation, I just had mentioned earlier that the inverse of multiplication is division. So I can use the division property of equality. That means I'm dividing the same number on both sides of the equation to undo the operation. So the same thing like I showed you with tiles, just want to give you a visual display of what is going on. All right, and so as you can see, x is equal to 3 because look, 3 of these, 3 in each, as you can see. All right, and that's basically what that is. So, but if I do 4x is equal to 12, coefficient comes before the variable. So when I have the coefficient with the variable, that means I'm multiplying, and the inverse operation of multiplication is division. So I am going to divide by 4, and whatever I do on one side of the equation, I've got to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So I divide by 4 over here also. And 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 1 times any number is that number. So 1 times x would be x. Okay, so this would be x, and 12 divided by 4, I get 3. And so there's my answer by using your multiplication, your division property of equality. Okay? Now, so once again, if you divide each side of an equation by the same non-zero number, the two sides will remain equal. Okay? So let me show you another problem, and I'll show you with the model, and I will show you using the division property of equality. Okay? So let's say I have been given another problem. It says 2x is equal to 10. X is equal to 10. Okay, so if I was to use a model, okay, if I'm using a model, okay, just so that you can see, I have 2 x's, So I have one x and I have another x. All right, so on the left side, I am going to be representing the two x's, and then the 10 one-tiles will be on the right side to represent these 10 numbers, or the 10 over here. Okay, so I'm just going to be drawing out a tile over here. So let's say I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So these are all ones. Okay, so the two x's is equal to the 10 over here. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to group the one tiles on the right side into two equal groups, because there are two x tiles on the left side. So I'm just going to show it like this. I have one x, I have another x. Okay, so this is an x, this is an x, and I am going to group these, the 10 of them. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I'm trying to give the equal amount on both. So these are all my ones over here. Okay, these are all my ones. So as I can see, because there are 5 one tiles for each of the x tile, the value of x is how much? Value of x is equal to 5. X is equal to 5. Okay, because we are looking at the value of x over here. Each of the x's is equal to 5 of these. Okay, now let's go ahead and use the division property of equality. I'm going to show you using the division property of equality. Okay, of equality. All right. So in this, I am going to again write out my equation, and which is 2x is equal to 10. All right, and then I am going to use the division property of equality. So it's the coefficient is being multiplied. So now what am I going to do? I am going to divide by 2 on both sides. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Okay, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So x is equal to 5. And here is my answer. You always want to check your solution. Okay, to check your solution. All right, for checking, I will write out the equation again. I will write 2x is equal to 10. And then I am going to substitute the value for x. What is the value for x over here is 5. So I'm going to do 2 times 5. Okay, and 2 times 5 is 10. So yeah, that is absolutely correct. Okay, and that is correct. There we go. I think the lighting is a little bit much right now. There we go. 10 is equal to 10. All right, so this makes the sentence true and the equation is perfect. Okay, now let's solve a multiplication equation. Another one, and I'm going to use the division property of equality to show you this one. Okay, so all right, so let's say I'm given a problem like 2/3 m is equal to 5/8. Okay, so let's say I'm given a problem like this. Okay, so I write out the equation and then I'm going to use the division property of equality. So 2/3 m, so I am going to divide by 2/3. So here we go. 2/3 m divided by 2/3. Remember, the fraction line means division. Okay, and whatever I do on one side, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so when I am dividing a number by another fraction, please remember here, if I'm dividing a fraction by another, please remember your keep, change, flip that we have learned in the past. And so we have 2/3, keep that, change the division to multiplication, and flip the second fraction, which is the reciprocal. Okay, and so in this case, then I simplify, I end up with 1 in this case, 2/3. And anyway, whenever I take any number and I divide it by itself, I am going to get 1. Okay, so this becomes 1, and this is m is equal to, okay, same thing here, keep, all right, this is literally what I'm doing. Keep, change, flip. So basically you are multiplying it with its reciprocal. That's what you're doing, okay? So keep, change, and flip. This is 2, okay? Keep, change, and flip. So what do I have now? I have 3 times 5 is 15. 8 times 2 is 16. So therefore, what is m? M is 15 over 16. So this is my answer. This is what m is. M is equal to 15/16. Okay, that is the solution. In order to check my work, to check my solution, you're going to substitute that value into the original equation. And the original equation, so we are checking now. Okay, you have 2/3 m is equal to 5/8. And we just said that m was 15 over 16. So I am going to substitute that. Okay, because when coefficient is written before the variable, it means multiplication. So I'm just substituting that is equal to 5/8. Okay, now I have taught you how to simplify before you multiply. Okay, so if I'm simplifying first, look, I have 2 times 1 is 2, 8 times 2 is 16, right? And then I can do 1 times 3 is 3 and 5 times 3 is 15. So I just simplified before I multiplied. And that is what? 1 times 5 is 5 and 1 times 8 is 8 is equal to 5/8. So therefore, this is the correct solution over here and the sentence is true. Okay? Now, I want to quickly show you one with decimals also. And let's go ahead. And let's say I give you a problem which is 3 and 4/10 m. 3 and 4/10 m, okay, is equal to 20 and 4/10. So now again, we have, this is multiplication. So the inverse is division property of equality. And I am going to divide both sides by 3 and 4/10. 3 and 4/10. 3 and 4/10 divided by 3 and 4/10 becomes 1. So therefore m is equal to, and if I am dividing a decimal by a decimal, and we have already done this, that in the divisor we are going to move the decimal and then we are going to do the same thing to the dividend, right? So therefore it is 204 divided by 34. And then when I look at this, I'm like, okay, what times 4 can give me 4 at the end? So I'm thinking of, okay, 4 times 6, okay, is how much? 24. And I carry over 2. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 2. So there we go. We have 204. And so therefore, here is my answer. M is equal to 6. And to check my solution, I do 3 and 4/10 times 6. And yes, when I do that, I am going to get 20 and 4/10. So that'll be the correct solution. Okay, let's do one more problem. because do not assume that your answer will always be a whole number. It can definitely be a decimal, okay? So let's say I give you 12 and 5/10 n, okay, is equal to 32. Is equal to 32. So now if I give this to you, all that I am doing over here is again same thing, and I am dividing both sides by the same the coefficient, because that's what I am using to multiply, right? So opposite of multiplication is division, so I am dividing by this, by 12 and 5/10. Okay, and 12 and 5/10 divided by 12 and 5/10 is 1, and so n is equal to, now we are going to go ahead and do our division. All right, so if I do 32 divided by 12 and 5/10, remember in the divisor we have got to remove that decimal, so this moves one place to the right. And if that moves one place to the right, over here there's no decimal, so we're going to start at the end and we are going to go one place to the right, and we're going to annex a 0 over there. So my new number is 320 divided by 125. Okay? And so now I know that if I have a decimal, the decimal will go at the end. So I place the decimal here, decimal above decimal, so that everything is aligned. Okay? And then we're going to start solving this. And I know that 2 times 125 is going to give me 250. Okay? And so when I subtract this, okay, I get 0 here. Okay, and what do I get? What is 12 minus 5? I get 7. Okay, because I have borrowed, and this has become what? 2, and this became a 12, right? So that's how I got the 7. And then now over here, I am going to annex a 0. I already have the decimal placed, and I am going to bring this down. And then we are looking at how many times am I going to, get a number which once I subtract from here, it should be the same or less. So I can see over here it's going to be times 5. And that is going to give me 625. 625. And when I subtract 625 from 700, I know that this is going to be 75. Right? And so again annex a 0, and I bring it down. And then I know that 6 times 125 is going to give me 750. 750. And so now I have 0 remainder. So now what is the value of n? N is going to be 2 and 5600. So there is my answer. So this is how we solve when we have decimals in our problem. Okay? All right. Now, let's go ahead and do one last problem. And let's see if I can just take you to my board. It'll be a lot easier for you to see the question over here. Hold on. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to just take you down, and we are going to go to this question over here, and full screen. There we go. All right, so we are going to apply. And this question over here, the nutrition information for 2 different bottles of iced tea is shown. Alicia wants to compare the grams of sugar in a single serving for each brand. Which brand has more sugar per serving? How much more? Okay, so here are my 2 brands, and I am going to solve this by looking at both of them. In this case, the 3 servings of sugar, the 3 servings have 63 grams of sugar. Okay, in this one, 4 servings have 74 grams of sugar. So the first thing that we are going to start off with is writing out an equation for each of that. Okay, we're going to write an equation for each of these. All right, so for this one, what did we say? That here, 3 servings for 63 grams of sugar. All right, so we are trying to find per serving. So 3x is equal to 63. All right, in this one, we have 4 servings and we have 74. So 4x is equal to 74 grams of sugar. So we're going to try to find the servings, the sugar per serving. So now we're going to divide it. Look at this. We have multiplication. So we're going to use the division property of equality. Divide both sides by 3. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. So x is equal to 21. Okay. So literally what do we have? We have 21 grams per serving in this one over here. Okay, and in this case we are going to divide by 4 and divide by 4, and so therefore this is 1. X is equal to, if I divide 74 by 4, okay, here's the decimal, and I can see that 1 times 4 is 4. I get 3. I bring this down, okay, and I know that 8 times 4 is going to give me 32, and 4 minus 2 is 2 over here. I'm going to annex a 0 and bring it down, and then 5 times 4 gives me 20. Okay, so this one is 18 and 5/10 grams per serving. All right, so this is the second one. So now it's asking which brand has more sugar per serving. So of course it's going to be Aunt Maggie's is going to have more, because we have 21 grams per serving here, and this one is 18 and 5/10 grams per serving. And then it's asking how much more. So then to find that out, I just do 21 minus 18 and 5/10, which is here. And so that gives me 2 and 5/10 grams is the amount that Aunt Maggie's iced tea is the one which is more by 2 and 5/10 grams. So that's how we solve these problems, by writing out the equation and then using the division property of equality. So we are just using the inverse operations, and we are using the properties of equality in order to solve one-step multiplication equations. Have a fantastic day, everyone. So.